I'm here in Medjugorje and I'm with, what's your name?
Sue.
Where are you from?
From England.
From England. First time here for you?
No, this is the fourth time for me.
Time. Why do you come back?
Well, I mean, I felt that I was called back because I was in need of a holiday. I mean, we're probably always in need of a holiday. And really, on reflection, I could have gone anywhere. But I was definitely called to come back. He has sensed in my heart that Mary was calling me back. And you know, when you asked Prav about, you know, why she came, and I was reflecting on that as you asked her the question. And I could have come on my own. For the last 2 times I've been on my own. The first time was with my family and children. The last 2 times was on my own. And this time could have been on my own as well. But there was a very, very strong sense of you need to go with someone. You need to take someone. And basically I could have chosen any of my friends. But I've recently met Prav through Kath. Yes, Kath introduced me to Prav.
Yeah.
And it was their names, and I'll ask them if they want to come. I knew that Kath had never been, but I didn't know that she had flown before. She has jumped out of an aeroplane, but so it was just very strong. And you know, I've learned throughout my life that when I hear the voice and feel it, I take notice of it.
And that was clear inspiration that said you should take somebody in order to person.
Yes. So yes, it was. Yeah, here are the flights. Fly to Zadar, and we'll get a car and come out and find somewhere to stay for the week. And
you flew from Zadar. You're flying back to London.
Yeah, we're going to the Midlands. We're going to Birmingham. Flying from yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
and why do you personally come back all the time?
Well, it's interesting that what I didn't realise was the last time I was here was 10 years to the week. And I only found that out because my grandson was rummaging through drawers and he found a camera, and he came to me because he's only 8, and he said to me, "What is this?" So he didn't know that it was a camera. And when I looked at the photographs on there, they were of Medjugorje 10 years ago to the week, and we'd already booked the holiday. So
an anniversary?
Yes, but an anniversary that I hadn't recognised or remembered, or I won't say appreciate, because I do appreciate, because things have happened to me, things that I can't explain. And very, very strong messages of renewal, prayer, improvement, and making myself better. It's like coming to the doctors. That sounds terrible, but you know, when you're feeling poorly, it's like that. Just wanting to feel closer to Mary. Just renewing everything, and
That's so beautiful to listen to. So you say there was an initiation 10 years ago coming to Medjugorje. Something changed in you?
Not 10 years ago. Oh, see what you mean. Yes, 10 years ago.
Was that the second?
That was the third time.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Yes. So, and it was my birthday. It was my birthday yesterday.
Wow, happy birthday.
So thank you. So that's twice on my birthday, and I had I would say no reservation about coming on my birthday, even though I knew I was probably going to offend my sisters, my children, grandchildren about being away on my birthday because they make such a fuss of me and spoil me. But the obverse has happened in that they were joyful that I was here and so happy because I'm doing something for me. And I wasn't going to tell these guys it was my birthday, but Kath must have remembered. We remembered from another time because Kath and I used to be at the same church, but I've moved house. Yes.
Yes.
So they spoiled me yesterday, and because things in my past have happened. Very profound things have happened on my birthday.
What happened? Can we
Oh no.
Well, in detail, just in general, that people can learn something from your journey.
I can't do it without crying. So things like, so in my prayer time is very deep. It goes even deeper than you could ever imagine. So the rest of the world becomes surreal. And the question that you asked, Prav, about the rosary, the rosary is so profound. And I was able to completely forget about everything here as in the living world and reach out to people that have gone before us, to parents, grandparents that have gone. When you put, I don't know whether I've told you guys this, but I had an out-of-body experience the first time it happened, whereas I could see myself praying like a child, and the souls were there. So when that stopped, when I came back to my senses, it's almost like that wasn't real. It didn't happen. It was just a load of rubbish. It's just me going mad. Have I taken paracetamol or something I shouldn't have taken? But talking to a priest or someone that would understand that helped me to realize that it was real. And so our prayers reach beyond the living world. So they reach into the realms of the other side.
Our prayers reach the soul.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Beautiful what you said.
Yes. And they are so thankful.
Yeah.
So thankful. And, to be able to see, I wasn't scared. And you can feel their gratitude, you can feel their love. So it is.
That's a lesson for all of us.
Yes.
We need to pray.
Yes.
For the those in purgatory or ancestors to clean the family lines, negative family traditions.
Yes.
Wow, what a beautiful,
And
keep on going.
But I'd say that's just one. But if the more we pray, the more we find, for me, the solitude of prayer as well. To try to be alone, to be quiet, to stop all the white noise in the brain, to stop worrying about what you're going to have for tea or what you're going to be doing at work tomorrow. Just stop all that and just let it flow, let it come to you. And
you make the experience open up the heart and then it can flow.
Absolutely.
Like Jesus says, I'm standing at the door.
Yes.
And when you came the first time, you came to Medjugorje the first time?
Well, the first time we'd heard about the divisions, and we were actually on holiday near Split. So we decided to hire a car and come here. And there was nothing here. It was around about 1986, 87. Totally nothing here. And we were unprepared. And I remember when we arrived here, because it's a good couple of hours journey, they were already going up for the apparition on Pub Row. And so we just followed the procession. We didn't know anyone, you know, and I remember walking through the track between the tobacco fields.
When what?
So in the late 80s.
Okay.
And I thought, the visions can't be true, because surely Our Lady would never appear somewhere where there's tobacco. Now my dad grew tobacco for himself. So I knew how to grow it, I knew how to prepare it, I knew how to bake it, I knew all the ins and outs of it, which is how I knew it was tobacco. And of course then, some years later, I read Our Lady had said, "We need to stop growing tobacco. Don't worry that the tourists will come to help you live, and they will bring you an income," because people worried about losing their income by not growing the tobacco. So yes, that in a way that answered my question, my doubt, but the experience, and not just me, my children, my husband, we climbed Pub Row. We were there for the apparition, and Ivan said, and I remember during the apparition it was totally quiet. There was no cicadas, there was no children, there was no talking, no rock movement, there was no dogs bark, there was nothing. It was total, profound silence. And we were all praying, we were all kneeling in prayer. And Ivan told us what Our Lady said. A message is, you must pray, you fast, go to confession. But then he said she did something that she had never done before. And that was to go right above us all and extend her arms. And she gave you all her special motherly blessing. She'd never done that before. And that blessing is with us to carry for the rest of our lives.
And to give it to others.
To give it to others.
What you did now in this journey, bringing two lovely ladies, a lady here, over here. That's what she wants to multiply the prayer, no?
Absolutely.
Bring the blessing to other people.
Yes.
So you believe? Okay, keep on going.
Yes, the climb up and the climb down was just like walking along the ground. It wasn't a struggle. We had no light. We came down in the dark. We didn't need a torch. We just did it. And it was,
That was Apparition Hill or Cross Mountain?
Apparition Hill.
Was it on the top where Our Lady?
Yes, it was right up the top. And we just walked up and we walked down.
Oh my God. Because at that time the statue wasn't there.
No.
Unbelievable. But was that the way already like now? You know, where you can go up now? Was it big way to go up? Or
I don't remember. All I remember is that it was easy. Whereas when we did it the other day, it was a struggle. And obviously I'm a lot older now. And it was a struggle for me to come down. And my shoe broke. I broke my shoe.
It's actually
but I don't remember them being sharp. And my two children are now 45 and 46. They don't remember it being difficult to come down. They said we just walked down as if we were walking normally.
And now, if you look back at that event and now, you see a lot of changes, like spiritually, or is it still the same Our Lady's here?
Oh, no, definitely. I remember the second time I came and saw all the shops. The transformation, the hotels, and I was shocked to see everything. But it came to me, the voice came to me, this is needed here. People need rosaries. They need the souvenirs. They need that. And so it kind of made that okay in my heart.
Lady said, we'll have something else, no more tobacco.
That's right, absolutely.
Because people have to live there.
Sure.
And these shops wouldn't be there if nobody would buy anything.
No.
Very fast closed, like in England, everywhere. There's a need for this stuff, like you said so beautifully. And for you, you always have been Catholic, raised Catholic?
Yes.
In England?
Yes, in England.
Many Catholics?
A lot of Catholics, but not many practicing Catholics. Yeah. A lot of people have gone away from the church or, yeah, feel they don't need to go to church in order to have their faith. Yes, yeah.
Can you explain, you are Catholic, what is the beauty about your faith? Why do you practice? And there's a non-practicing Catholic is a non-Catholic because you're not practicing.
But, yeah.
You have to be honest what it is, you know, but explain why you are practicing. What is so beautiful about your faith?
I want to say something like, it's like having a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing. It's beautiful. But you put a tinge of something in it, like juice.
Yeah.
And you get the wow, the zap.
Wow effect.
The zap.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that. And it's like going to the doctor. It's like going for a checkup. It's like, it sets me up for the week. Definitely. Definitely.
When you go to Holy Mass.
Because for the times that I've not managed to go, then, I really notice a difference.
Me too. Yesterday I didn't go. Yesterday evening I felt different.
Yes. Yes. So, and because I think at work, throughout the day, television, we're bombarded by everything that is not spiritual. By people that are not spiritual, people that don't understand it or are unhappy. And I think as people, we absorb so easily. We're like blotting paper. And if we're not careful, we take and absorb all the negatives that are around us and bombard us. And going to Mass, confession, praying the rosary, draws that out of us. It's like grey tar that just comes out of us, and everything that's good and holy is put back.
I made the same experience this morning. I looked a bit of Instagram videos, short videos. I said, what am I doing? I put on the rosary, and you become peaceful again, you become joyful again.
Yeah.
What is Holy Mass for you?
Holy Mass, when we have the quietness, when it's very spiritual, because sometimes it isn't always. I just feel this heat and this warmth here in my heart, chest area. I feel lighter than air. And yeah, I just feel so much better. Happier, more positive. And all those kind of negative feelings that I was just talking about, just go away and they're diluted. And yeah, by the end of the week, they're all back again. So I can see the importance of daily Mass, to try to go to daily Mass so that, those feelings can be diluted even more. And yeah, hopefully would never be there. But going to daily Mass is something that we have to really try hard to do and really be determined to do. And something's got to go, something's got to give. But and it's making that choice or those choices so that we put them second best, and Mass becomes the first and the primary option.
That's a point of the day.
Yes.
For me now.
Yes.
And what would you tell people? Confession. You go to confession?
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's like cleaning out your handbag. Throwing the stuff out of the bin. Yeah. It's like that. And also, it helps you to see the good path that you're on. It helps you to see all the good things that you do and think about and want and wish for. Mm-hmm. And, so it's not all bad. It's to help you stop beating yourself up and to let it go. Just let it go, move forward. Because I'm sure, times I've heard, enough, stop this. Now, not from the priest, but stop, move on. I've heard this. You need to let it go. This is you now that need to let it go. And because that can become so, your own sin can constrict you. You don't feel worthy. You feel ashamed. You feel embarrassed. You feel so guilty. But it's just let it go, because that is, again, is part of the devil's work to keep us away from church, to keep us away from our growth and improvement, to keep us away from God. Yeah.
Beautiful what you say. And you pray daily the rosary?
I'm honest, not daily. No, but I should. And I've made an oath today to Father Leon and to Mary that that's what I'm going to do. And I intend to do that every day.
Pray from the heart.
Yes.
By the Holy
Yes. But to make it the most of opportunities instead of looking at, because I've stopped Facebook, but to stop scrolling, to stop, Yeah. And because we do have opportunities throughout the day, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, when we're waiting in a traffic jam or anywhere, waiting for the kettle to boil, just be prayerful.
And what is your favorite spot now here? After all this year you came back, now 10 years later, what is your favorite spot here in Medjugorje?
I don't think I have a favourite spot. I don't. It's the whole thing. Even being with the people in the shops. Yeah, it's the whole thing. I mean, leaving. We've just walked by, said some prayers, and I felt this terrible sense of loss. And I don't want to go. I want to stay. And I'm thinking as we're walking away, next time I'm coming for 2 weeks. Because
you can't describe it, what it is, why you don't want to go.
It's like being at home. It's like
Well, what can I say? Thank you so much for that beautiful interview.
Okay, thank you.